Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in today's first video. Running really late with today's first video. We're doing rain watch, so we're going to have a look at the wet weather that we've got across the British Isles at the moment, particularly eastern parts of the country through central swathe of England. There's going to be more rain coming up over the next 24 to 36 hours, particularly again in the east and the southeast. And we could be seeing anything up to around 70-80 millimetres of rain across some eastern parts of the country by the time this is all finished. So I'll tell you for anything that's going on right now. After this, we'll be having a look at weather next week, 10 days, and also CFS V2 for the next month. But we'll start with the radar picture for rain watch. So this is the latest from the weatheroutlook.com. And you can find the link to Weather Outlook on the links page. So we've got this swathe of wet weather, which has been very persistent pretty much of the morning, from last night through the morning, across particularly northeastern England, down into Lincolnshire, into the Midlands, some central southern parts of England as well. Now, through this persistent swathe and you see from the bright colours, it is heavy rain, so through this persistent swathe of heavy rain, we've had anything already up to 25-30 millimetres rain, where I am in Northamptonshire. We've gone over 30 millimetres already. There's going to be more rain to come through this central swathe of the country through the course this afternoon. Through eastern and the southeast England, it has been mostly dry, but we're starting to get some heavy rain beginning to appear in the southeast. That might turn a bit fungy this afternoon across Wales and southwestern parts of England. We've got heavy showers also for Scotland and Northern Ireland. There's a few heavy showers around as well. Now, this is the facts chart. This is the human interpretation of models by forecasters at the UK Met Office. This is the facts chart for midnight tonight. And it's this area of low pressure that's actually centred over Germany and the Low Countries that's bringing all of this wet weather. It's quite a way away from us, but its fronts wrapped around this area of low pressure. This occluded front here is stretched out into the eastern and southeastern part of the country. Now, this low pressure is at least partly being fuelled by the heat that we had across much of Europe through the first week to 10 days of August. So on the eastern side of the low pressure, we've got a lot of hot air coming up out of southeastern Europe. And then on the west side of the low pressure where we are, we've got very cool Atlantic air. The two air masses are meeting within this area of low pressure, and that's what's fueling the low pressure and fueling the precipitation. Now we go through to midnight on Thursday, and we see that occluded front is still there across particularly East Anglia in towards the Midlands, some southeastern parts of the country as well. So that implies a lot of heavy rain to come through the course of tomorrow. There will be persistent and in places quite torrential outbreaks of rain. By the time we go through to midday on Thursday, that front is finally starting to clear into the southeast, but my word, it's a very, very slow old process to get that away from the country. So even into Thursday afternoon, there might still be some showers down in the southeast. This is how the GFS is picking things up. So there's the low pressure that's bringing all this wet weather. It's across Germany, Belgium, and Holland on the eastern side of the low pressure. We're pumping up that heat. And on the western side of the low pressure, we've got cool air from the Atlantic. And we know got those gaggle of fronts wrapped around that low pressure. There's the upper air temperature showing that temperature contrast. So we've got all that hot air in the east of Germany, then to the south and southeast of Germany too. We are in the very cool Atlantic air. And between the two air masses, there's the low pressure that's producing all of that very wet weather. By the time you go through to midnight, low pressure is in the North Sea. We're bringing in a really cool northeasterly wind. That's the other thing with this. Temperatures are very, very disappointing in this persistent wet weather as well. So that's how things are looking at midnight on Wednesday, midnight tomorrow. Low pressure is in the North Sea, lots of heavy rain in the east and a cool northeasterly wind as well. Midday Wednesday, still that low pressure is stuck there in the North Sea, still bring down these cool northeast winds, still producing a lot of heavy rain in the southeast. Visible precipitation forecast from the GFS. And we see loads of wet weather here at 6 o'clock in the morning was being forecast through the Midlands into northern parts of England. Midday, well, we know this is about right, really. Heavy rain across eastern and central parts of England into the afternoon. That turns a little bit more showery, so I think the rain will tend to break up a little bit through that central swathe this afternoon. But there could be heavy showers. There's a risk of hail and thunder, particularly in the southeast, and torrential bursts of rain are possible. Now, this evening, things might calm down a little bit. A lot of those showery bursts will ease in intensity and start to die away. But notice this next mass of heavy rain is gathering in the North Sea as we go through to 6 o'clock in the morning. On Wednesday tomorrow, we find that heavy rain is pushing in from the east, pushing back into eastern parts of the country, through the Midlands as well. And then through the course of tomorrow morning, that rain just continues there across East Anglia, South East England, in towards parts of the South and the East Midlands too, turning torrential in the South East through the course of this afternoon. You see those purple colours turn up. That's torrential rain there through East Anglia, parts of the Midlands, parts of the East Midlands anyway, central, southern, southeastern parts of England. Really, really wet weather tomorrow afternoon in the southeast. By the time you go through to midnight on Thursday, that rain is still in the southeast, but it's starting to clear away a little bit, but it's still pouring across parts of East Anglia and southeastern England. And even by midday on Thursday, we still have the risk of some showers across East Anglia and South East England, albeit most other parts of the country are dry by that point. So you can imagine the rainfall totals are really clocking up with this, and I think quite widely, looking at an inch of rain across parts of England and Wales, but some places could go up to maybe 50, 75 millimetres. That's 2 or 3 inches of rain. The temperatures are appalling as well. These are the maximum temperatures for this afternoon for parts of the Midlands, Eastern England, looking at maximums just 13 degrees 55 Fahrenheit, and that's more like the kind of maximum you'd expect in the middle of October rather than early August. And tomorrow's maximums aren't much better. The lowest maximum is 13, 14 degrees in the southeastern part of the country, but really, really poor temperatures for the time of year as well. So unusually cool and unusually wet from the GFS. This is how Euro 4 is picking things up. This was the forecast for 6 o'clock in the morning. Precipitation this is from website Weather Online, by the way. You can find a link to Weather Online on the linked page. Lots of wet weather here through the central part of the country at 6 o'clock in the morning, midday. So there's that first heavy rain across parts of eastern England, and turning more showery through into the Midlands as well. By 6 o'clock in the evening, things could turn a bit thundery across parts of East Anglia and eastern England. Then those purple colours tend to indicate risk of thunder. Might be bringing some thundery bursts into the southeast, while other parts of the Midlands and central England tending to turn a little bit drier. Still heavy showers through Wales and southwestern England. And then overnight we get more rain starting to pile in from off the North Sea in towards particularly parts of Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, into the North and East Midlands, and also into East Anglia as well. That continues through the night. This is 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, pouring with rain through much of eastern England into the Midlands, and then we go through the morning, barely any movement in that band of rain. It could be torrential rain as well, this across East Anglia in towards the south and the east part of the Midlands. It's not until tomorrow evening that rain finally starts to push down in towards the southeast and things begin to clear up. But for Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, East Anglia, many parts of the eastern and southern Midlands, into central southern England and the southeast, a lot of wet weather to come. This is the total precipitation forecast from Euro 4 from midnight last night, so midnight this morning, to midnight on Thursday. Quite widely across England and Wales, we're looking up to 25 millimetres, that's an inch of rain. But in this specific area, through parts of Yorkshire, into Lincolnshire, and into the eastern part of the Midlands, and also over towards East Anglia, in those areas where we've got those purple colours, we're looking at 50, possibly 75 millimetres of rain in the next 48 hours, so over 2 inches, maybe it's 3 inches of rain in a few places. That is a lot of rain in a short space of time, and could well produce localised flooding in some areas. This is the high resolution page. I'm on the website measureseal.fa. You can link to MeasureSeal on the links page. This is the precipitation forecast for midday. A lot of wet weather through this central swathe. As we go through the course of the afternoon, we find the rain just continues really across these eastern parts of the country and into this evening. Things calm down a little bit for a time this evening, but then tomorrow it all starts pepping up again as another area of very wet weather pushes back in from the east. So this is to midday tomorrow where you see, but again it's pouring with rain through much of East Anglia in towards the Midlands and southeastern parts of England as well. And that rain could turn torrential across the southeast tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow evening. This is 5 o'clock in the evening tomorrow. Really, really wet across parts of East Anglia and southeastern England at that point. Possibly thundery with that rain too. And then as go through into Thursday, things finally start to ease down. So by midday Thursday, things are coming down. But even then, a few showers are left in the far southeast. The total rainfall up to midday on Thursday looking like this. So very, very wet in the east, southeastern parts of the country, widely through much of the Midlands. We're up to sort of 40-50 millimetres of rain. Some parts of East Anglia and southeastern England here are going between around, say, 60 to 80 millimetres of rain. That is around 3 inches of rain across parts of East Anglia and southeast England up to midday on Thursday. And then finally, the high resolution WRF model all looks very similar. There's the wet weather that we've got at the moment through the course of this afternoon. We find that rain continues through our central areas, turning a little bit more showery in nature, and then more wet weather is piling in off the North Sea through the course of tonight and tomorrow morning, particularly affecting this southeastern part of the country. So you get the idea. It is in the southeast that we've got this wet weather. It's through Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, into the Midlands, particularly the eastern and southern part of the Midlands, probably the North Midlands as well, less so the West Midlands, over to East Anglia, and then down through central, southern and southeastern England. In that area, well, up to 25 millimetres of rain, certainly, in the next couple of days, but specific areas within that area seeing anything up to 50 to possibly 75 millimetres. That's 2 to 3 inches of rain. The roads will be awash, so expect localised flooding. And all in all, a very nasty spell of high summer weather. Remember, we are in the high point of the summer at the moment. This is typically when you expect our hottest weather to be occurring, but not so this year. Right, come back later on and we'll have a look at where next week's 10 days and also the CFS V2 for the next month. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.